Welcome to Milestone 5. Today we're going to talk about working with PHP and MySQL to manage your registration form data and confirmation page with a concert entry ID. This requires establishing database credentials so you can connect your front-end PHP script to your back-end MySQL database table. So that's our focus for this particular tutorial. Your registration form fields are scripted in HTML. However, the functionality to make a connection to the MySQL server and write or extract data from the database tables requires a more powerful scripting language. For this course, we're going to rely on PHP to make those data connections and data transfers. Here's the PHP script that accomplishes these requirements for this course. In PHP, you're able to set a connection to a database using a MySQL connect function. In this case, it's set to the default host, to the MySQL user, and to the password that authenticates this MySQL user to gain access to MySQL from the server. Also in PHP, we can test the connection with some if statement logic. Notice that I took this function and dropped it into this variable. That way, in the if function, I can say if not this variable is successful, meaning if not connected, then kill the connection attempt and display the error message that's provided by the server. Otherwise, if it is successful, just go ahead and state connected successfully. For your convenience, we've already set up a test user account called test2 with the password of 123 to use to make your PHP and MySQL connection. In order to ensure a successful connection, you would typically need to first set up a new user with permissions to read, write, and execute MySQL files. This is done within MySQL. To enter into MySQL, first go to Codio and into your build environment, and then click on Node version. This puts you at the command line interface, or CLI for short. Because it's a virtual server instance, it's already mapped to your own login credentials, but that's only for your logged in state from Codio. Since your PHP script will be published to the internet, most of your users will not have the same Codio permissions that you have, if any at all. So you'll need to open a port connection to the MySQL server through HTTPS to open a backdoor to the database table data. Since this will be visible by the world, you'll want to take extra precautions in the future to secure your username and password with encrypted authentication, such as with 64-bit or 128-bit hash encryption that provides lengthy but randomized encrypted IDs that act as proxies that enable your PHP script to gain entry to the server, but are not otherwise reusable to gain access to the server by any other means or by any other person. Since this is just a test case scenario, we're going to forego any such encryption, but we are going to create an example script here that'll just quickly show us whether permissions are set to read, write, and execute using the test2 user. So this is done by first going into MySQL. We do that with sudo MySQL. And this will put us into the data warehouse from our Codio account. Now we've already created that test user for this connection to our PHP script called test2 with that password of 123. So from MySQL, we can confirm this by typing in show grants for test2 at localhost closed by a semicolon. And there we go. It shows us that, okay, yeah, there is a username test2. We have granted usage for all to test2 identified by this password. Notice it's in a hash format. And we're granting all privileges, so read, write, execute, on the following database schema. This is where the database tables are for this particular course, and they're set to test2, which is exactly what we'd hope to see. So this concludes the first part of the Milestone 5 tutorial on setting up a connection between PHP and MySQL.